We'll go ahead and just
I know, I'm like, I think you probably have some just to put your legs in. Right?
Okay, turn that to
Yes.
a little late. Go ahead if you want to. I'll go ahead and propose the accept the motion for the agenda.
I would move to approve the agenda.
First one here,
I'll second it.
second by Adrian. Okay, all those in favor? Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Move on to the approval of meeting minutes for the July 8th board meeting.
I'll move to approve that. July 8th.
I'll second. Either. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay. We'll move on to staff reports. Start with safety and security.
Hi, everybody. Move a little closer. Please give me questions now. Today, you guys know is what day is this? School? Yeah. Getting it, guys. Welcome to the new area. Anyone have the units? As you can see, it's only almost complete. It's been quite a journey. It's been nothing. And your pictures. Let me go ahead and cover a couple of things. Yellow glasses. You may or may have not noticed that we made this school, it's recently a couple of weeks or so, we installed some signage to identify classrooms or offices. Obviously, it's really important for a lot of people to navigate this school, sometimes we can't get lost in what's going on, kids are across the school, schools, signage there. But there's a lot more things to it than just navigation and understanding where to go, but you can understand safety. So you do here, appreciate that. So having persons that are going to follow things, it's important that they come in, that thing, they're really important areas. So please check it out. We're always interested in anything, suggestions, anything going on around safety for sure. We are looking into possible additional markings or identifiable things for exterior. That's because, again, it helps those people who come with us. Possibly into this place, up here, it really helps isolate where and when and where they need to go. So that's, I'm going to follow with that. First responders and then later. And those are people who don't go north, south, east, west. And it helps identify areas. Then, as you guys know, there's not much construction going on here outside, which means less homes. I did have to purchase additional homes for good reasons. Yeah, Sue is looking at it. I know I'm just supporting Scott Stevens. In any condition, the reason I bring up the less homes is because we've got the apartment back. Drop-off process is working. It's a lot of student addition here. Really helps. We had to do it for schools as well as the high school side. Again, this process, what I'll say there is it's a fluid. It's it's getting better in a lot of ways. They work through some things and program. And got smart people here and not always trying to move. So please, if you have any suggestions, recommendations, we had a sample small run. They are the teams on that. And Mr. So we have also been able to establish a great, you guys, protocol drills for our students, for our staff. We thank you to the administrative assistants, school here, and you're ready to go back and see the handbook, identify key areas where we need to improve, we need to support. So we got that all pretty well aligned and we don't cover these drills. So yes, your students can come out here, they'll like to talk to you about that they educated, maybe for the first time, really small ones, but they'll be trained on that, and go through the drill. We'll make it as pleasant experience as we can, so they understand what needs to happen. And they use it, it's an amazing training staff. We have teacher support to get it done the right way. We also are working, well, here at Derek, we got this particular jump where I was trying to improve surveillance, cameras, all that stuff. We just have a multi-phase approach to that. Pretty alongside the quality stuff. Just like everything technology moves so fast. And things break down, unfortunately, you got places, so you gotta go. And so we're working through all that as slowly and as financially responsible as we can. And also, operationally, I can't do enough. I think we will mention this school doesn't ever see this campus. I stay a lot, say this campus is used more than any other school in this consistent and used for all the ordinances like the school, communities, meetings. It's open all year long. Means your summer career. A lot of time for a lot of things to do. And we thank you for this new regime, staff, summer, or sweat and whatnot. A couple of points on that is there's a lot of renewable students at school, both sides. And so we were going to talk about that. It's a very good issues. I think we have a book wizard, right? So we have some really good 4-H stuff. We got Bible, cheap. I could go on and on. Special education. There's a lot of good stuff that can't get it out. And one more thing is, where we're standing here, you can look around, this is a multi-purpose kitchen equipment. I can almost definitively say it's pretty much complete in the cafeteria. So here in the units and in the cafeteria kitchen. Please feel free after this. Take a little tour there. It's an amazing piece of machinery in there. A dishwasher at the end and a half. But we appreciate it because we're really saving a lot of trash. We're also utilize that space for the kids. And then we're close. This is supposed to be. So, thank you for your support. We are really looking forward to another great year. Can't be excited about it. There we are. Any questions, comments? If you have a home donations to start this. Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Nancy. Then we'll move on to theology.
Well, my goal up here is to talk less than he did, so. But I did want to take a second to thank the board for their support for my experience this summer. It was a lot to me to see that support for you guys as well as the rest of the meetings. And I do appreciate support being in this situation this summer. On top of that, this summer, I worked with a company to get all the technology you see in here installed. We've got 15 speakers in this deal, so if we want to have another meeting in here, we can have microphones and actually hear each other. My voice carries pretty well in here, but others may not. So we got 15 speakers in here. We went for 85-inch flat panels that we can display stuff on, which the lunch crew has taken advantage of. They've got table assignments for all the teachers up on the boards very much, which is awesome. As well as we can do our standard digital signage that we have for our building. So that was really great having here, as well as we have to use it for meetings and stuff like that. So getting that technology is a big part of the summer, and making sure that the project is installed properly. Another project that's on this summer was replacing about 500 Chromebooks for our students. That's going to allow us, if we can continue on the pace of replacing Chromebooks, we're hoping that this year's seniors will get to take their Chromebooks home with them at the end of the school year. We will be retrieving them from them to redistribute to other students. So that gives them technology that they can leave with. Some things I've been hearing from teachers is there was a student that had a home business that they were running off their Chromebook, and they didn't know how they were going to be able to continue their Chromebook. So that will continue with them. And hopefully, over the next 2 years, we'll be able to do that for not only the seniors leaving, we'll be able to do it for people leaving middle school and the fourth graders as well. They'll all get to take their Chromebooks home and into those firms so that they can keep that technology and that's something which a lot of folks don't have. So that would be great for those students. As well as we replaced all of the technology in our elementary school over the summer. So we hauled about 30 flat panels out of here at 110 pounds a piece and put in about 30 more 110 pound flat panels back on the wall. But that's allowed our teachers a lot more freedom in how they use the technology in their rooms. Teachers are now able to go computerless for all their displays in their classrooms. So the displays actually have an Android computer hooked into them. They can access their classroom. They can go on their YouTube videos. They can do their Netflix or whatever they need to do in the classroom. And still have their laptop available to them to continue working while they're displaying technology, which has been not life changing, but changing in their mindset. They came into a very apprehensive set of algorithms were going to change. And within the first week, we already had teachers requesting us to remove the technology they thought they had to have in their room because they saw how powerful the technology in the room was. So a lot of those teachers wanted the extra monitors on their desks, they wanted extra technology in the room, and we left it for them. But we got calls first week going, I don't need this stuff anymore, this is awesome. So it's been a great experience for the elementary school teachers, I think. And then the last thing, I did complete a project on automating all of our account creations through Clever. This was a manual process before where we would export CSVs out of our student database system and generate scripts that would create accounts. And if students got added or dropped the day of or the day after, they would get messed, and then we'd have to manually add them. Now, every night, every new student that's registered for a school gets added into the system. Automatically, their account's created, and they have access to it. So, there's no more manual process, no more human error, as long as what's put into our SIS is accurate. So, that's what I've been working on this summer. Yeah.
Any questions from there?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sure.
Google I/O conference this year, they announced the sunset of Chrome OS and replacing it with a new notebook OS that's agentic first. Have we started to
I've
take
started
that
to
into
think about
account?
what the future looks like, and there are competing platforms now that are more interesting with Apple releasing the MacBook Neo. It's really at a price point where we're purchasing our Chromebooks today, so we're always looking at new technology. But
As we do that, we also need to take into account that our students are getting out of high school with no concept of how to use Windows-based PCs or anything else. And so transitioning them into businesses, I mean, I just finished my internship. We struggle with that every single time we have an in the building. That they have to just go back to Chrome technology and can't use Windows-based technology. So we just have to figure out what that balance looks like.
Yeah, absolutely. Office technology is very important. And that's changing rapidly as well, so. But we do have business classes focused on giving them those kind of skills. And we every student has to take those classes, so it is elective, but, yeah, we'll continue to improve, but we also gotta continue to make it affordable at school and make it accessible for the students. So, the more we can make technology accessible, the better. Even if they don't have exactly the skills that they translate, as soon as they understand the nuances. But
They struggle.
our students don't even know how to use their Chromebooks sometimes, so, but yeah. Yep, we are looking at new technologies for sure. Any other questions, comments?
Doesn't look like it. Thanks for the effort over the summer.
Thank you.
Thanks for your help. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
We'll move on to principals. Nate, you got a big face here. Ms. Hello, welcome.
I'll go ahead and introduce our new face. Somebody you know very well, somebody you may not know very well. It's Ms. Laura Helmut. She has been with our school for a decade plus. And was a fourth grade teacher. And now she has gone from master teacher to assistant principal, to now associate principal. And elementary is kind of doing a pilot this year to look at the K2 version of elementary and a 3-5 version of elementary in the same building. It's pretty unique. So we are taking a look at what that might look like based on kids, based on staff, based on a couple different things that was making it. So we needed to kind of divide up some things to make it a little bit more palatable for the lead and lead in a better way. So introduce her to the board, and she's going to start us off on just a few things that are different in that one, which we got a lot of.
We want to start by putting some names to basic or basic names maybe. So last year in the spring, we implemented a new hiring process. And you'll see some faces on here that are familiar, you'll see some new faces, and you'll also see some faces of people in new places, like the student deputy, book wizard, and on the specialist team. So we really want you to feel like you have a good idea of who our people are and where our people are, and if you think that knowing what their faces and names would be a really great first step to that. So we just created this for you so you have an idea of who our people are. But in the spring, we did something really fun where we reinvented our hiring process. We felt like we were not making the best picture of who people were by just doing an interview. And so we started a new process where we brought people in groups of 4, and they would come in and they'd come in as a group, and then they would go through rotations throughout 2-3 hour chunk of time, where they went to visit classrooms, we had them go to PE, we had them do a campus tour, and then we did their sit-down interview. And that really gave us a really nice picture of who people were and how they interact with kids. And we feel like we have had the best hiring season that we've had in a really long time because of that process. So we feel really good about the people that we've brought on board. They're doing really great, and kids seem to love it so far. So that's really big positive for us. Something that is new for K2, a shift that we did this year for preparing for 2nd grade, we saw that students were not able to attend specials for the 55-minute chunk of time that we had. And so we reduced their time in specials to 35 minutes, and then we paired it with a 25-minute recess with our monitor team. Because we just felt like developmentally appropriateness was not there with we have 4-year-olds. We have about 7 4-year-olds right now, through 7-year-olds in kindergarten or 2nd grade. So 55 minutes is a long time. Sorry, this is 5 lunch over here. And 35 minutes, it's been a shift for our special teachers, but we think that it's been really beneficial for our kids. The other change that we did in kindergarten through fifth grade with specials was that we now want our students going for 7 to 8 day consecutive chunks of time versus going once every 5 school days. What we noticed was that if students had a special on a Friday, they didn't have that special for 10 calendar days. So it was really hard for kids to be able to remember what they did 10 days ago and continue working on the projects that they were working on. So our special teachers are excited and also working through the kinks right now, and we think that'll be a really great thing too. Luncheon with Helix has been absolutely fantastic. We added a 5-minute transition from recess to lunch, and that has made it so all of our lunches have started on time, and our kids have gotten to eat for the full 20 minutes of time. And we feel like our kids are actually finishing their lunches this year, which in the past has been a struggle to get them in, seated, and eating in time. So that's been really great, and this space has been really amazing for our kids. So this space is really great for us. And then the last thing I wanted to talk about was something that we did for kindergarten this year. We launched kindergarten really intentionally this year and thought about what the kids who were coming to kindergarten were ready for. We wanted them to have a really positive start, and we didn't want them to be overwhelmed and overstimulated and overtired. Because in the past that didn't happen. So this year we did a couple of things differently. We had our kindergartners for the first 2 days start 30 minutes late. And that was really, really lovely. It was great actually for our first fifth graders because the playground was much calmer. There weren't kids who weren't sure where to go. They all knew where to go. There were kids who were really upset. Coming as a kindergartner to the playground with 600 kids is really intimidating. And so reducing that to just 110 kindergartners was really nice for those kids. We also did a really warm handoff. We had about 15 staff members that were out on the playground with the kindergarten came at 8:30. And we walked out to every student and greeted them, introduced ourselves by what their names, and walked with them to their spot on the playground. And it was really nice. We didn't have any kids who were crying, which is not normal for the first day of school in kindergarten. They were all happy. And then the next day, we continued that process, and we didn't hold their hands, but we did them and lumped them onto the playground, and it made for such a better start for them to come back on Monday with the first fifth graders who came home. The other thing that we did that was different was we did an early dismissal for kindergartners for the first 4 days. The first 2 days, we kept them completely in their classrooms, other than going to lunch and recess. They stayed in their rooms, and we had other teachers push in. We had our special teachers come into their classrooms and meet them. We had our PE teachers come in and do lessons in the classrooms because we felt like having them, first of all, in the classroom is a lot, but then moving them to different places on those first 2 days is also pretty hard. So we kept them in the room for those first 2 days. They got to come to lunch and recess, which was great. And then the second 2 days, they went to PE. So their next layer was they went to PE. And then today was actually our first full day, and our kids, they did an amazing job. And it's like they had much more stamina. They understood how to come to school. They had a great day. I don't know how else to say it other than they just had a great reason. But something that was really, really special about that was our teachers used those first 4 days in the afternoon to schedule 10-minute phone call conversations with every parent of our kindergartners. And they came up with a list of 5 questions that they asked every single parent, and our kindergarten teachers and also our parents who I talked to have just raved about that. It felt really welcoming. It felt really caring. And it also helped us understand a lot about our bar. There were things like we've got a person who's been playing piano and playing really, really well. We've got a horse rider. We've got someone who has pretend shit at home and it's like their favorite thing in the world. But we also learn things that are really important to know, like there's a group of people who didn't go to preschool. And there's like little, not little big things, like there's a student who adapts to languages. And so those conversations were just, it was a really, really great touch point and a really great way for us to build community right off of that with our people. And they still like that so that's fine. And it is, I totally might be going to class. I think I did.
Did you
I
try?
saw.
So as you can tell, Corin is somebody who comes in every game is like, okay, before I come out of the segment, and I run again. And then she comes up with all this, and it has just been a blessing to our school. All the things she just talked about, her and Jennifer and I and a couple other people put this together, but she really is super creative, really a problem solver. We're so lucky to have her. Our school, elementary, is really working on hospitality. And so we're really working on making sure kids are feeling seen, kids are feeling heard, and kids feel like they belong. We kind of went back to the old saying of maybe not remember what you taught them, or some other things, but they'll definitely remember how you guys can feel. And so we really focused on how we make kids feel, building relationships, and I think a lot of the things we're talking about really making a huge difference this year, and we've really seen it in our staff. So we're focusing on touch points, how we welcome kids in, how we send them off, how we go to lunch, how we pick them up from lunch, and it's just been such a nice transition to all of our kiddos this year. Exciting news, Ms. Alice Reese, our elementary counselor, has been nominated for Colorado State Counselor of the Year. You may remind us of their wheels, parking lot, what was that? Career day, sorry. Career day with wheels, and so does many other great things. It's just been nominated for the School Counselor of the Year. And I also want to talk a little bit about Poppy and Bulldog. So it's something our student council worked on last year, and it has really spread, and hopefully it starts spreading to K-12. But that's another thing we're doing in our elementary is making sure we're seeing all the good stuff and nominating them. And some of the names that came to us today just warmed our hearts, and we were so happy that these kids and these teachers were seeing each other and all the good things are doing. So lots of good things happening in the elementary.
All right. Any questions? I heard nothing but great things about the mulch. So whenever they dropped off, actually, it's pretty surprising about the whole help. I didn't necessarily know the lunch was happening, but it was very just called for the older class. Yes, for elementary class. So kudos to you for all the work that. So great. So hospitality, yeah.
I feel like they should all take something. So I think that in May, everyone needs to take a break. Some of them want to do walk in the summer. There's so many things that happen. Jared and I left recently. We're like, this is going to be we don't need major construction. This is going to be the summer not yet, not in 7 years. So I just really want to thank the Holmes over the summer group because there's a small group of us here during the summer. But Dennis was a lot of things. Man, it took last 2 weeks. We had about 15 meetings in the month, and we're down to 2. They're almost finished. We're still working on the door organizations for the affection of the driver order. But we're almost complete with that. And then Derek's been shipping away we used a new ID system this year. We ran into some scheduling issues with that. Derek Glover this year, they're having a community justice meeting for sabbatical to dissertation. So Derek got a lot of last minute projects about 2 weeks, maybe not even 2 weeks, before school started, and really hard to work all the time. So I appreciate the work they did, Jared and Taylor worked here all summer, through KJP, teachers through the summer, and we did all of those, we talked about summer. We did the library into an elementary space, a lab space, a bridge space, a school, and after we did school, got to look at top work with a lot of people. And Stephanie, our new HR manager, onboarded 38 staff members. And so she worked really hard this summer. And Danny Miller and Rachel Weigel that sort of picked up and get all of her. And to make sure that our teachers were welcome. So before someone was even told where they already got welcome packets, they got welcome. And staff resources, they already got welcome presents, they already had tours. Stuff all summer to make sure that they were ready to start when they needed. Then spent a lot of time with summer APs and we were available and all set up. And I were only a few days ago, so there's lots more to see. But I really think you're having here this starting class. I'm so impressed with. We have two brand new teachers. Everybody else gave us a lot of experience. We hired teachers from all sorts of divisions, and they were really happy. And we always benefit. We had 2 brand new teachers, and then what did we say? We had 28. So we had everything in between. But we were really talented, energetic, I love. I'm already voluntary work. Allison set out this summer that she has come up with achieving the log, and a couple of our new teachers showed up and helped. It was awesome. So I'm really excited about the time and energy they're bringing to the table. And they got the biggest most attended bachelor grad, most notable in high school opinion participated. We always have lots of elementary, and they always come really early. But this year we actually did a lot of also high school freshman orientation. Well attended Mr. Chicago National Flatus operated tours, and I was very impressed with the combination of very helpful information and also no shading. She was telling just like it was. So that went really well. My kiddo and a couple of our kiddos got to attend 6th grade orientation. Crazy. We got middle schoolers. That went really well. We had a great time. Really well prepared to start the first week. Laura and John Angus helped with that. This was also the largest group of 8th grade web leaders that we've ever had. So between the 6th grade students and web leaders, we were at 240 people who attended that. And so they were really well, and they did a great job of that. Rhonda awareness is everything. She was a huge shout out. And this year we did shorts for everyone. We have a place of often we can find people to help support us. And because we generally are operating around half of our families and services. And so we try really hard to do things useful for everyone else. And so we really appreciate what Starch responded to that, just to help me out with yeah, Lone Tree Services. So between the two of them, and covered in the back of lots of t-shirts. So between families, they can afford to buy them, and as generous sponsors, we're going to get everybody a t-shirt. So it's always fun. We're going to see 2,000 people wearing the same shirt. I love that. So that was a great start to things. And I wanted to thank the elementary team, and they started working really hard last year. And you all are going to talk pretty candidly about the challenges working for the team brought last year. We were anticipating it, I remember in October, it was a little shocking. So we were committed and challenged each other to find better ways to meet our kids' needs, and things to work more in the way we wanted them to meet them where they're at, the experiences we've been bringing and not bringing to the table, and help that be a smooth transition. And as you were, man, there were a lot of changes between specialist schedules, teachers, that changed and they've been lots of working. I would think, and most of them I've talked to specifically, so it starts with that, and all three levels, things really, really well. So I appreciate all the people that were a part of that. We had double the amount of kids who came in for some registration this year. Last year we had 600, this year we had about 1,200 again. Our administrative assistants and business office take care of it almost exclusively by themselves, and they want to bombard it with people from start to finish. And our health office also participated this year. So it's great for parents to be the kind of parent who can make all of that online and place to take care of it, and about that option, and personally who prefers to be here in person and get a little support, we can lots of people who help them. But I thought that was a pretty big increase in just 1 year, and it's like double the amount of people who came in person. And that also helps with important logistical things, right? We want to make sure taking up a fees paid, we have more activity classes sold, maybe more people engage directly with our health staff to go through and flag supports that their students need. So I love how many people attended that. And I also, David worked really hard at everything that you see in the building, he designs, and we challenged a lot of people and had to be super creative, and we found that we actually create what we so we talked to a lot of people about a lot of it, but it was nice to be able to be Rachel. I also helped with Rachel before she was a teacher coach. She was an art teacher at your university. She's a local reference matter, so she helped with the video series. But it takes all people to be to work to really hard for the summer to get everything done, and to make sure that when we show up for the first day, we do beautiful. And they did. So I just want to thank everybody for helping us sure gotten them beautiful. But there were a lot of people who helped, and I really appreciate it. Everyone got to see sort of like ducks, right? We got to see the smooth sailing at the beginning, and not the furious path to get through the ceiling. So thank you to you guys. Everybody was very cool with that. I'm excited to start another year. We've got a lot of exciting things coming. We're going to talk to you a lot this year about the DNA blog and how that's sort of going to be unveiled, and that part of the strategic plan. So a lot of exciting things to come. It was fun. Great start. So I appreciate everybody who's helped with that.
Any questions, Jennifer? We will move on to this next update. Sue?
Okay. July is first month of the fiscal year. It's very quiet most of We have a net deficit of $405,788, which is full for the five. We paid almost more than 312,000 for technology upgrades, and our insurance is due in July, and that's about 260,000. So we give it about 120,000 in one that we don't necessarily have. So it's pretty typical in July. The revenue sheet at the bottom where I have those boxes, ignore those box numbers because I had a calculation or my formulas and stuff. So those numbers actually are, if you want to write them down, the general fund net deficit is at 405,798. And then the general fund MLO deficit is 449,768. And then our general fund surplus is 339,751. So taking the negative 449 net 43,000 into the negative 447. So for those of you who are new, we keep track of separately the dollars that we spend just on mill levy override expenditures that we're using our mill levy dollars for. The district has an accountability committee, so that when they ask the voters to renew that MLO, they have data from our school that says what we've been spending those dollars on. So we keep those separate. So MLO deficit is just the things that we're spending money at MLO dollars, and then the general fund items on everything else. So that's how that works out. Basically, each different income, I do need to mention to the new people also, let's go back to the balance sheet and the general fund. There are two accounts on this that get a little complicated during the year. So under the assets, there's one that's called prepaid expense. And then under the liabilities, there's one that's called deferred revenue. So for years, District 6 would pass our funding on monthly over 12 months. Last year, the state or somebody, I don't know if I was a decided it was over 9 months. So what they do is they calculate it over 9 months and they send us the dollars, and then we don't get money in March, May, or June. So what happens is in the accounting world, we can only recognize on the income statement and the expenses the 1 month. So when we get money from them, I have to go in and calculate only 1 month of income and expense, and then the extra that District 6 has given us, I have to put into a prepaid expense or into a reserve revenue. So what's going to happen over the next 8 months is you're going to see that prepaid expense and that deferred revenue amount increase. You're also going to see our cash increase, which I love because we get interest on that money from the bank, and so we can pay cases of good income from the monies that we're getting ahead of time. So when we get to March, then all I do is I do a book entry, journal entries, we call it, and move the expenses and the revenue out of those two accounts, put it into and recognize it in the income and the expense and account statements. So you'll see that as we get closer to the end, and as we get those, that's always going that into a little bit better. So, let's see. Jennifer said we got really good collections on our fees, $119,920,000. That's really good for the first part of the year. I'm excited about that. Expenditure-wise, our general supplies under construction, they're over budget, way over budget. I forgot to put in the fact that we are actually paying those general supplies out of the supply fee. So I'm going to have to make a couple adjustments in our budget. I also want to adjust the income that I'm going to get from that too. So it shouldn't be, too terrible, right? The program support, again, those people who are new to the board, that's where we most our special education costs. And so that number is about $200,000 plus a month, and then there's some other things that are thrown in that category. As mentioned, technology is over, and most we budgeted is $300,000, we're at about $312,000. So all technology from here on out will be toward from the capital fund. And then furniture, we also have some furniture purchases for units and all those kinds of things. And so we'll be paying for any other furniture purchases I can now. We're going to try to have how much furniture we're actually going to buy. So the capital fund is relatively easy. Basically just have revenue, interest revenue, and then we just have some small equipment purchases from Moon, who is the vendor who did our food system. So very, very limited activity in our capital fund this month. That's all I had. Auditors are still working. I've been gone for a week, so I'm just now getting them to this file. So the revenue people getting some stuff. And they'll hit the ground running if we are in the next level.
Do we have any questions for Sue? Thank you, Sue. Okay, we move on to consent agenda. We have a personal packets. That's one divided. One resignation. Motion to approve consent agenda.
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Thank you.
Second.
Second by Eric.
Ethan,
Yes.
Kellen,
Yes.
Bill, yes, Weston,
Yes.
yes, Lindsay, Eric,
Yes.
AJ, that's it.
Okay, motion carries. Okay, we're going to board director resignations. So Frank Freeman submitted his resignation from the board this last week. So we will need to approve his resignation. Or accept his resignation, sorry. So all in for a motion to accept board member's resignation.
I will move to accept Frank Freeman's resignation.
I'll second. By Eric, second by Ethan.
Ethan,
Yes.
Kellen, Bill, yes, Justin,
Yes.
yes, Lindsay, Eric,
Yes.
AJ,
Yes.
Dan.
Yes.
Motion carries. So it's helpful to have spoken with the next candidate in line. So there's a few ways that we can handle this. We can have a special election. The board can appoint somebody, and we can, since we're so close to a previous, or since we're so close to an election, we can just go to the next person in line, which ended up being just Corliss. So I reached out to Lucas today, wasn't able to get in contact with him. So I was hopeful that I would have connected with him today. So we can discuss how the board feels about that process, what we feel is appropriate. There were 12 people that ran for board members this last election, so it's quite a list. So I feel like it would be appropriate to go with the next member who got the highest votes, or candidate who got the highest votes, and Lucas had 78 total votes. If Lucas does not accept the second, the next person would be Paul Watts, and he had 57. We have Charlotte Mills lead the way.
Last time there was a vacancy, there wasn't, put out, anybody else on that. Was interested. 10 years ago. Yeah, we got 3 people that submitted, Ethan was one. Yeah. Yeah. I guess we have to put, and we're not interested in
Yeah.
10 minutes.
Yeah, so with this, since it's within, I don't know if you read the motion here, but it will allow, since it's such a short period of time, it's within that 18-month gap, it will allow it to run the next 2 consecutive terms, where the person whoever accepts it. So they will be able to have 2 consecutive terms, and they will have to rerun the next one. So I'm happy to try to connect with the next few members that can go down the list and we can go that route or the special election. Or what type of participation we want to see through that. You know, if you're like,
When you refer to a special election, that would be any lifetime?
so we've done a special election or we've appointed somebody, so we can do it both.
Like, I kind of like the whole election.
I agree. I don't think that having a whole election for somebody to serve, you have 11, 10 months, it makes sense.
That makes sense. I was letting us before, sorry, that was one of the questions, so.
I don't think there's a problem. I think if William doesn't want to do it, then we're just to roll this down. My opinion, I like that.
Well, so we'll be able to appoint him tonight, since that didn't happen, like, questions next week. So I'll circle up and try to be a little bit more prepared next week. Everybody's doing that. Okay, thanks. Okay, we move on to armed security resolution. So since our school has armed security guards, we have to read the following resolution. And it has to be signed by the board chair through the board secretary. So, resolution of university schools, designation of armed security manager. Whereas university school is a member of the Colorado School District's Self-Insurance Pool, the CSESIP. And whereas the school carries its school entity liability policy and an armed security guard endorsement through CSESIP, and whereas CSESIP has requested that in order to continue to receive its armed security guard endorsement, the school, through its board of governors, designates all armed security staff, and whereas the school has employed Kevin Trimble as its full-time armed security manager beginning August 7th, 2026. And whereas Mr. Trimble has 22 years of law enforcement experience with the Adams County Sheriff's Office, including serving as an officer in jail, earning his stripes on patrol, and serving as a school resource officer for 6 years before retiring from law enforcement. Whereas the Board of Governors has determined that Kevin Trimble meets all of the necessary qualifications and insurability standards set by CSESIP to be designated as an armed security. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Governors of University Schools hereby designates Kevin Trimble as its armed security manager, adopted this 12th day of August 2026. 2026. You want to sign?
The original second folder.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Board reports and communication. I was a little surprised that they was try to help me. It was pretty awesome. There's a little 24 kiddos to try. A few of our board members did. So super excited to see the interest in that our first year. So really hope that takes off well. I know they've already played around, right? Is everything about that? First year. How would you?
They did okay for our first year.
I do want to say that going into the 6th grade was, it's a little bit nerve-wracking for parents who are changing schools. So that was a great orientation. It felt like it was well varied, but all the teachers there are great. So it's exciting to go into another part of our school that we're trying to gain that experience and just see another piece of that. It seems like the flow over there was really well. So it's good to see that as well. And the first day of school, we kicked off fast. It was crazy. It seemed like it was handling well, so good job, everybody. Really appreciate that. So I think that's all I have. So
All right, I touch on the foundation one too. Foundation, we are getting ready for golf tournaments in September. We have flyers out, so if you guys haven't seen them, please let us know. We'll get more out to you guys. Just looking to get this team signed up and a couple more sponsors, but it's going pretty well so far. Other than that, it's been a great meeting either. So, we'll have that.
when was the vote?
It's September 19th.
have much, just exciting to get started. My kids have always had a great start so far, and from personal perspective, I know my kids were rather difficult when changing schedules, and I thought that's all very well and they together how much pressure there was on all the counselors to have to change schedules, and they did it as much as my kids did. So that just took my spirit a big reason for that. So it's a big thing on the counselors.
Like, you know, I do, one of the technical lessons in the background. I've also started on. Thank you for putting me in the middle. It's a lot easier, but, get what you come for. That's not it. Yeah, I like this. Should I do something so we can see each other? I know, sort of thoughts. Potentially do that. Yeah. Anyways, I'd say that. So. But anyways, I like the room. I like it looks great. I assume there's more magical down there. Is that right? Yeah. No, that's all I think.
Well, it's good to be back with you guys. Thank you for the move into last year, I think, and it was happy to take it along. Found that out on July, but I think it seems to be all right. I'll say, just from a school perspective, it's nice to have the kids back in. My son participated in the football camp last weekend and had a great time with that. A lot of the things he say as far as the interaction with the older kids there. So it's nice to see them continue that this year. Otherwise, it's good to be back. Thank you.
Not much. Everything was so far. The service was going really well so far. The easy. It was drop off. I think that was had to drop off my middle schooler now. It's in the high schooler. It's not in school where that means, but a little worried for kiddos crossing the street where it's not a crosswalk. Middle school, then car stopping, helping them to let kids out there to go through the finish line. A little nervous with an accident over there, but also it's just nuances of the school and figuring out where to drop off kids, what that's the best about it. So it's already better Thursday and Friday. But yeah,
Well, summer is always the busiest time for us, so another great summer we had 4 interns in. They actually built a computer vision system out of a CNC router that they adapted to be able to identify random place discs and pick them up with a vacuum head attachment system that they designed and be able to bring them and sort them and do so. That was great. Got some experience with a little bit of AI programming and really it was a great group. A lot of fun with that. I've got another student in right now working on a senior project out building band props. So that's another great thing. Yeah, so I love summertime. We're coming in, I think we've got the new hydroponic wall is getting moved to the library where Greg Flores is getting her, I don't remember the 4-H. Yeah, the 4-H program. So gonna get in and hopefully get that all planned out here in the next couple of weeks. So that's good. I am delivering the last of the batches of fish in District 6 this next week for their hydroponics. If anybody wants a fish farm, I need to get it out of my shop. just stay. I offered to come here if there was a desire for fish farms, you know. But no, I think otherwise nothing on the joint use at this point. I honestly don't even know when we've got the next meeting set. Okay, so
25th maybe.
25th of August, okay. Put that down. So yeah, I think that's, and then yeah, not the most ideal environment for board meetings. So if there's another option, it's hard to hear.
I don't really have a whole lot of action. This Tuesday was a lot of fun. First 5 days of school seem to be going pretty well, pretty smooth. That's about it. And the capital planning and those concepts a while back. I don't know what the next steps are there. Need to get together for a meeting. It's just let me know. That's all I got.
I'm just gonna echo what everybody else is gonna say. I've talked to a lot of staff. Seems like it's been a really great start to the year. I think it was good. A lot of new faces, but everybody's been really awesome. We've done to many people, and it feels really seeing us, honestly. Like from a staff point of view, and also from a parent point of view, like it's just whoa, slivering back through the days. It's crazy. Yeah, it's been really great. It starts.
Baseball. No, but it's really so crazy how school already started. And like summer went by so fast. It was 2 months go by. Over the summer, I had to put a track camera bulldog camp, and that was so much fun getting to see how fast some of these kindergartners are. Oh my goodness, the speed these kids have. It's insane. They honestly could probably dust me. It's crazy. And then to see how much fun they had over the 2 days, and then that track meet on the last day. And the weather was perfect. It was like cloudy, but also warm. It was just a really good experience. And then I also helped with the freshman orientation. And this room is loud and fast, especially when it's filled with a bunch of freshmen who just came back from summer. It gets loud and fast. And Jacob has a loud voice, but it's hard to cover the talking. But that was a lot of fun getting to put freshmen in their place and ask them questions when they weren't listening. I asked them what the principal's name was, and he didn't know, so that was fun. And to know how to listen. And I really like how we go experience and then into 5 days, because it gives you the weekend to relax and kind of think about your classes, and if you want to change your schedule or anything like that, it gives you time to set up a meeting with the counselor if you want to, or just think about how you're going to conquer those classes in the next semester. So I really like that, how it's like a slow start. And then I really enjoy the morning lunch. We have the half, well, 3 before lunch. And most upperclassmen and sophomores have that as well. And so it's almost an hour and 30 minutes for lunch. And it's almost like what you do with that amount of time, but I've seen that a lot of kids are being safer drivers now, because they don't have to like rush to food and then rush back to worry about getting late to class. And I want to say I've seen a lot of improvement in the parking skills because of that. So the parking lot is a lot better now. And it's also opening up new options that we can go to. So, I mean, no complaints yet. It is only the good things. So, who knows?
Can I jump back in one little thing? I know we had teachers emailing students all in the summer, because I was copied on a number of those, and the students aren't able to get to their emails. And so they had no way to even know they had received those emails, let alone respond to them. And so just something we need to communicate well with either the teachers, that their messages aren't coming through, or figure out how to get the students access to emails in the summer. So.
Our next regular board meeting will be September 9th. Assuming it's same place, but there's been some requests somewhere else. Okay, I'll accept the motion to adjourn. All first.
Second.
Second. All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries.